Back here in Pittsburgh, Pitt and Oklahoma State dueling it out on this Friday night in the Steel City. Back here, Zach Gibney, Nino Bonacorsi with a little bit less glasses. Greg Warnock as well on the end over there. So the whole broadcasting thing, you weren't necessarily supposed to lose part of your glasses in it, but, you know, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, I guess.
You know, I guess that's just part of the job. I just get fired up for these guys, and,
yeah,
you know, I want to make it memorable. So
you get caught up in the emotion.
What's more memorable at debut than breaking your nice new glasses?
There you go. We were talking over break, like, you break the other side now, you got to come up looking like Mr. Peanut with a monocle or something.
I know.
So we'll see how it goes the rest of the way. Hopefully you can keep your glasses on your head somehow. But
hopefully when you cut back, I'm not glasses.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. We'll play it by ear. So the giveaway today as well, you had these little banners out for your national title. You signed one of them, and then you signed 400 of them.
Yeah, you know, it's like I said, this is a real wrestling-friendly area, and I thought I was going to sign just a couple, but I decided, you know, let's just do all 400. So got a little carpal tunnel, but.
How does it feel like seeing these kids walk around with your band? Obviously a local kid. Assuming you watch Pitt wrestling growing up, it must be kind of surreal to see that.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, it is surreal. It's a good word. It's just like sometimes, especially when you're out in public and you just see a kid with your shirt, you're like, oh my gosh, this is, it's just, you know, I'm very grateful. It's a great honor.
And, you know, we got your weight class coming up next at 197, but right now 184, pretty good matchup here between Plott and Heller.
Yeah, you know, these are two guys. I think Heller's going to be looking for, obviously, to get to his big moves. He's very funky like his brother. And can kind of come away out of some scrambles, usually with the opponent on their back. And Plott, pretty sound all around.
Use the word funky to describe the Hellers a bit, a couple times tonight. What does that like specifically mean in the form? Like, what makes them so different than the traditional wrestler?
Yeah, well, personally, like situations like that, like we call them rubber knees. It's where that knee is it's just so hard to get a hold of and secure that takedown. And just when you think you have them dead to rights, they find a way to squirm out of it and you know, come out on top somehow, and they're always looking to put the guy on their back. So that I consider that pretty funky. Squirmy isn't a good word for these guys, but they are they're really solid all around, and like I said, they're dangerous everywhere. But Reece, while he has that funkiness we were talking about, he also has some great shots that he's going to look to get off in this match if he wants to beat Plott here. It might not all be from some defensive positions.
Plott got off to a slow start last time out against NC State. He was taken down in the first period by Dylan Fishback. Got into trouble a few times, but battled back there. A two-time All-American finished 6th in both 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, great resume from Plott. Obviously bumping up a weight class from last year. He looks real good at 184, real strong, and I think his big thing to win, and not only this match, but in all matches, just his pace. He gets his head in the way. He's always looking for those shots, just like right there, nice low ankle. But
talk about Plott being a guy who bumped up a weight class, something that you've done in your career as well. Is that a major adjustment? Like, how long does it take you to kind of get used to that?
Yeah, it definitely can be. It can definitely be harder than people think. Just for one, just being able to move around with that extra weight on you. You know, I remember the first time when I bumped up from 84 to 97, I just felt really slow and just more tired because it's just a lot of extra poundage on you. But I think, you know, with the right training and good nutrition, it could be very easy. And obviously, it looks like what Plott has done because he's been a hammer this year and it's looking really good.
On the Pitt side of things, Reece Heller started his season off at 8-1, but has lost consecutive matches. A bit of a mixed bag at the collegiate duels. Majored number 5 Will Fulcamp from Iowa State, but suffered a tech fall against Cornell and was pinned by Tristan Willis of Little Rock. A 3-1 lead for Plott headed into period number 2. Plott, the native of Tuttle, Oklahoma. You see him right at the top of that 184 ranking behind just Parker Keckstein of Northern Iowa. You look across his top 5, it carries over across a lot of weight classes, but Plott, definitely a guy you could see really contending for a national title and potentially winning one at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's a weight class that there's not a true guy that you feel comfortable with picking, as all weight classes are. But, you know, yeah, definitely Plott. And a lot of these top guys at 84 are, you wouldn't be surprised if you saw them on the top of the podium in March.
I'm sure a lot of those guys thankful that Aaron Brooks has gone up to 97.
I'm sure that, I'm sure that helps a lot. And yeah, like I said, it's just, you have guys like that maybe leave the weight class or graduate, and it definitely opens things up. Not that these guys can't contend with good guys like that, but it definitely opens some room for guys to come out with the national championship.
Now, you mentioned being the top guy and then having that bullseye on your back, but how much are you guys looking at rankings, as wrestlers?
Yeah, I think everyone's different. Personally, I was a guy who didn't really like to get caught up in the rankings, just because, especially nowadays, it seems like top guys and upsets are happening all the time. So to just kind of try to follow that all year can be exhausting. But, I do think some guys, looking for some backlinks there, but I do think some guys do look at them and like to see where they're at, which isn't a bad thing. But I personally wasn't one of them.
Yeah, you mentioned the rankings. It feels like something you see it throughout the year, but at the end of the day, you got to beat everybody if you want to win a national title.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. I always looked at it like, hey, you got to beat someone good eventually. So, and really, my perspective is no matter where you're at in that bracket in March, you're going to have to beat someone. And sometimes the higher the seed, it doesn't always mean you got an easier path. Sometimes it's harder. And yeah, so I think the best bet for some guys just caught up in those rankings, just really, focus on one match at a time, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean much.
Sometimes you get caught up in wrestling the name as opposed to wrestling your style.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens.
3-2 lead for Plott here with just over 20 seconds to go here in the second.
Heller didn't really have much of an opportunity to fight that one off there.
Yeah, when it's hard to defend when they get that angle like that, and they shelf that leg, they start coming behind the waist. It's very difficult to score, even for defensive masters like the Hellers. It could be very tricky.
6-2 lead for Plott heading into the third period.
Take a second look at this takedown, and just like you mentioned, so he's got that leg. What do you see from here?
Just shelving that leg, straightening that knee out I was talking about, just coming up to that hip. It's very hard to defend when your knee and hip are kind of locked out like that. Some blood time, hopefully a little recovery, a little game plan reminder for Reece as he tries to have a big third period here.
Plott, another one of these Oklahoma State wrestlers that has been pretty conditioned early in the season. 7-1 already versus ranked opponents. He's earned bonus points in 13 of his 16 matches this season, looking for his 40th career win in duels. He can hold on here against Reece Heller.
A crazy stat in its own right for Reece is, of his 8 or 9 matches he's wrestled this year, only one of them has gone to a decision, which is just kind of speaks volumes on he kind of lets it fly and is always looking to score, which is something you always want to see out of your wrestler.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
He's the definition of that. Great shot by Reece here. See the feet, when they're stuck like that, you get extended like that, it can be really hard to score. But definitely some optimism for Reece. He is able to get to that leg. Just has to be a little more urgent on these finishes as time's starting to wind down.
Reece and Holden on the same team. You ever seen any of that brotherly competition between the two? That's
for
sibling
sure.
rivalry?
For sure. You see it a lot, especially off the mat. Those guys like to play a lot of video games. And good takedown by Plott. But, yeah, you see a lot of competitiveness where I say outside the room because inside the room, they're always helping each other. You don't see too much brotherly aggression, but they are a funny group. I always wondered what it would be like to be on a team with your brother in the same weight class, same lineup.
Yeah.
I feel like personally it would be hard to watch. I think Reece got it worse because he has to watch Holden go first and maybe get some anxiety up, but Holden got it easy. He can wrestle his match and then worry about his brother. But
your brother wrestled at Pitt as well, so a lot of familial connections here in Pittsburgh.
Definitely. That's why I say, as I remember when I would watch my brother, man, I'd get so worked up. I can't imagine having to wrestle 2 matches later.
10-3 lead for Plott. 1 minute remaining here. Reece Heller trying to get something going here in the final 60 seconds.
Plott's getting hot, though, on his feet.
Something you notice about these Oklahoma State wrestlers, just in this duel so far, they don't get tired, it seems like. Even later on, and even the second and the third period, they're still going at it.
They look very well conditioned. Like you said, I feel like we've seen that throughout this duel. Just as time goes on, even if you might think they're starting to fade a little bit, they always seem to find that extra gas, and it's really paying off for them in this duel.
The intensity, too, from the jump from all these guys at Oklahoma State, getting on the board quickly and then getting right to their attack on top, too, in the early matches. All kind of takeaways from this match.
Plott in major decision territory as he leads 13-4 against Reece Heller. This 184 division will come to an end, so more team points secured in another bonus round. Dustin Plott via the major decision at 14-4. He gets that riding time advantage as well. And Oklahoma State extends their lead to 28-3.
Another match not by a decision, Dean.